Hey everyone, welcome back once again to the SMITE Tactics Weekly Tournaments. We're here on Hi-Res TV broadcasting some of the best players in the SMITE Tactics closed beta right now. Face off in competition. Once again, I'm joined by my co-caster Deathwalker, who's a pretty high level player. Deathwalker, why don't you introduce yourself to the fans once again?
So hello everyone, I'm Deadwalker700 on Twitch and Deadwalker7000 in the game and on YouTube. You can also check it out on Twitter. And I'm casting with Adonis this tournament to basically give you some insight on the game and some high level, highs to understand a little bit more what's going on into these games.
All right, well, first up we have Pot Pie taking on Mr. C4. Pot Pie has been playing for quite some time. Mr. C4, one of the newer players, but let's get right into game. And immediately we actually have, interestingly enough, a Poseidon versus a Zeus here, both playing the Greek Pantheon. Which of these leaders do you prefer, Deathwalker?
Well, it really depends of your playstyle, right? I think that with the current ability of Poseidon, he's able to deal 2 damage in the same turn with his Whirlpool and with his basic attack, and maybe that's what he's gonna choose to do on this Doom Speaker. But Zeus, what he brings, he's gonna bring you much more pressure in the late game with his ability to draw a card. So in the late game, you actually draw 2 cards instead of 1 like your opponent. And you're going to be able to deal range attack, which you will not take damage from the melee character, unlike Poseidon.
Well, just to start off here, we've got Mr. C4 just going to do exactly what you said. Drop down the Whirlpool, and run away. His hand pretty strong in the 4-drop area, but the main issue here is he doesn't really have any cheap drops to get out just yet. And you can already see he's got the pressure put right on him.
Exactly. Zeus already with 2 minions, kind of surrounding Poseidon. Now, Poseidon don't want to give up this choke point, that's for sure. But now he has the option to play Thanatos and to finish off the Brute, and maybe use that Thanatos after to deal with the Steropes of Zeus. But we can see clearly that Pot Pie has the Scylla to punish the Thanatos play.
Yeah, and right away there, that Thanatos, his Warcry executing any minion or god at 2 health or less. Very, very spell-y, kind of, right? It just has a lot of options, but the main issue is you really can't put Thanatos in a spot that you want to, since he always does execute another minion, or sometimes will execute another minion. And right there, it's just the play exactly as you said it would be. Get the Scylla out, and you could see him actually debating where he wants to put his Steropes. Pot Pie moving it to the top there. I guess a little bit worried about something being dropped into that grass.
Exactly. Well, moving the minion, the Steropes there, it's going to be able to, if Poseidon wants to hide something in that bush, he will have vision to finish it with his Scylla. But unfortunately, his Scylla take down but a second Thanatos. And it feels like we're going to have a Thanatos war here. Pot Pie could use the second Scylla to do exactly the same thing he just did before, and we know that Poseidon already uses 2 Thanatos, so this one is going to be a little harder to kill since he doesn't have that easy option with the Thanatos again.
And now, yeah, now it's a little bit scary for Mr. C4 as well. He could use a Hades in this situation, but it's just gonna. The Scylla's range, so it's still gonna be able to pick him off here. What would you like to see him play?
This is like a hard spot, right? I think that the best thing he could bet on is use the Judgment to kill the Scylla, and then you're able to play whatever you want out of range of the Steropes, if you want. But it seems like he's gonna opt to move away from the Scylla range and to develop, like you said, maybe in Hades or something there. It's gonna be the Aphrodite, and I feel like we're gonna see the Judgment, or just a Whirlpool, and then you can clean it up next turn.
He is out of range.
It's really going to depend. Yeah, exactly. It's infinite range, the Whirlpool. So he decides to go on the Sterope, which is it's not a bad play, but it could have gone with the Scylla. It's gonna be interesting to see how he wants to deal with her later on.
It feels to me that he just wants to use the Judgment on the Scylla, possibly. I mean that's got to be it. But, I mean, Popeye still in command here. He's spent 3 mana, and he's just going to use this Fire Imp in his stirrups to clean up the Aphrodite. And one thing you never want to see is an Aphrodite come down and her not get any value. Since she is a 4-drop, but she doesn't do a lot of return damage, you kind of get into an awkward spot, just like Mr. C4 is in now.
But the good thing now is with that Scylla not killing anything on the last turn, she's gonna drop to 1 attack, and now a basic attack and a Whirlpool that is the strength of Poseidon is going to be able to kill that Scylla, and then he's gonna be really far away from the stirrups. He choose to maybe play a Nike or an Ares or some really big drop here.
He could actually just basic attack the Scylla and then use Hades, who, when he spawns in, fears and roots people away, and then use the Whirlpool to finish off Scylla and just develop a board with Hades. And that's actually exactly what he's going to do.
Exactly. In the same order as you said, also.
I
Really
actually didn't know if he would do that there. I mean, he could have slammed the Nike, maybe, but I guess a little bit worried about the Scylla getting her thing off again.
Yeah, well, it's important to shut down gods into Greek because you're basically making sure that they don't have the judgment. Like we just see, if that Scylla will still be alive, the judgment was an easy cleanup on that Hades.
And here comes the Thanatos War once again. Popeye gonna finish off that Hades, and Mr. C4's just been really struggling behind on this board ever since turn 1, where he had to use his ability. He had to spend 2 mana to drop that Whirlpool to get 1 damage off and walk away, and he's just been behind on board ever since. How do you think he's going to come back into this one?
Well, Podpie, I mean, you Mr. C4. Yeah, Mr. C4 is really behind on board right now. He still has some tool with the judgment, but, everything on his opponent's side of things is kind of low health. The Thanatos, the Stirrup. So he can use the Whirlpool and the basic attack of Poseidon to kill these low health units, but at the same time he doesn't have infinite health, and it's gonna take everything, every damage from returning damage. So it's gonna be he's going to have to be really careful with his health during this game.
And right there, he just uses Nemesis, steals a little bit of HP, and finishes off that Thanatos, like you said. Popeye here, he's debating what to do. He's got Ares, Hades, Aphro, and Thanatos in hand, but that Nemesis right now inside the bush, which means she's stealth, cannot be directly targeted by any spells. And he's actually going to use an Ares here, whose Warcry selects a target, pulls them adjacent to you, and stuns them, which means no return damage from this Poseidon. And he's going to take a bit of damage off of this.
Yeah, he's going to be in a really hard spot because, if you look at what Zeus has on board, that is a lot of damage going into the next turn. And he cannot put anything to body block there because he's stunned. He can't move away and put, protections here. So he's going to have to play his own Ares right here.
Oh, that was a good pull, too. He puts it on the other side of the Poseidon, so he's body blocked in.
Yeah, and now we're gonna see he's gonna use his Nemesis and a Whirlpool. Important to note that since Ares is stunned, it's gonna be dealt 2 damage with that Whirlpool.
Guaranteed. Now it's on to Popeye once again. He's got a Thanatos, so he can clear out that Nemesis if he wants. He could also look to just push damage on board. He's got 2 Judgments as well. But he needs to get an extra god out there. Judgment only doing 2 damage originally, but if you have 2 gods in play, it does 4 damage. And that seems to be what he's looking to do. He at least gets that Hades out, pushes those melee units away. Super important in this position.
Yeah, he's going to also put in Aphrodite and not him himself, since he's really healthy. He's going to choose to protect one of his actual units on board. It's going to be that Ares, and I guess with the rest of his army, he's just gonna put damage onto Poseidon because Ares and Nemesis on the Poseidon side of on the board are rooted, so they will not be able to move and to protect Poseidon.
And you can see perfect draw, honestly, for Mr. C4 right now. He's in a really tough spot, but he picks up the teleport. He can spend that 1 mana to move any one of his characters anywhere on the board, which is probably something he's going to have to do here with Poseidon. I think he's got to drop, I think he has to teleport away and then drop some big minion. There's no range, or not a lot of ranged, or excuse me, not a lot of strong ranged on board for Pot Pie, so a Medusa could be really efficient here as well. Although, based on what we know is in Pot Pie's hands, if Mr. C4 drops that Medusa, it's just going to get judgmented immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Pot Pie only has answer in his hand and doesn't have much other like I would say threat for the board right now. Right, that Thanatos not gonna mean a lot, but he has so many units right now on the board that I think that Poseidon doesn't have enough mana to deal with all of them.
I mean, he's got a lot of big gods and minions in his hand. Mr. C4 does, but the issue is that he's been spending so much mana on his Whirlpool that he hasn't been able to develop them very well. I love this Inyo play, though. Also body blocking off that Ares. The Hades is in range, but he's saving a lot of damage that he could potentially have taken.
Exactly, and if the Aphrodite and the Hades decide to go and push for phase damage onto the Poseidon, that may be punishable with, you know, the annual flag that we see and everything. If the Aphrodite comes on the other turn, but the top deck of the Blade Master is going to be able to finish the game for him.
Did he use his ability to draw that?
No, I don't think so, because he would have 0 mana.
That's true. But, I mean, nice draw there either way. Drawing into lethal always feels good. Pot Pie is going to take game 1 here, and we're going to be right back with game 2. Hey everyone, welcome back once again. We're in game 2 here. Pot Pie coming up over Mr. C4 in game 1. And we actually see Mr. C4 sticking with his Poseidon deck, but Pot Pie, obviously, based on the format of this tournament, because he won the first game, he is no longer allowed to use the deck that he won with, so switching over to his Raw.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting to see if we're going to see the same playstyle with Poseidon and Mr. C4, or is he going to go aggressive? I mean, for Ra, knowing that Ra has a lot of big legendaries card, really powerful late game, and we see him straight going into the corner early game, so he's going to stick with his main game plan here.
Just trying to run and delay this game as much as possible, it seems. And looking at it, this is a mid-range deck from Raw, so a lot of minions and a couple strong removal tools like Execute and Magma Slam, but this is a little bit scary, I would say, for Mr. C4, just because of Pot Pie's starting hand having On Her and Neath, both very powerful range units.
And yeah, the main threat here is that, you know, this Bowman, if it can reach the Poseidon, Poseidon being melee is not going to deal return damage to him. So if he doesn't take care of the range units on the Egyptian side of things, he's going to have a lot of problems being melee if he's keep running away. And like you said, Anher and Neat, all being range, are gonna definitely be really hard to deal with on the Poseidon, on the Mr. C4 Poseidon.
And you could tell now Mr. C4 is in a little bit of an awkward spot. There's not much he can play in this spot. He could drop the Thanatos, but that's just going to get cleared out immediately by the Anher right after that. I guess Aphrodite's probably the best play here, and then playing a little bit aggressive after that.
Well, one thing's for sure, if you're going to play a unit, you want to play it out of range of the Anher, because Anher is really powerful at not taking return damage with his knockback or with his stun, and that's really hard to deal with. And like I said, especially being melee. Now Ra can just walk to the Poseidon, put something in his back, and stun it with the Anher.
I think I would have liked to see Pot Pie play as Aphrodite in that bottom right corner, link up, just so he has that heal and it's out of range of the rest of them. But this is a solid play, too. He drops his Hades, fears the minions away, and obviously Anher will take return damage to that ranged unit.
Well, if you move his Anher at 4 range and then hit the Hades,
Ooh.
exactly like that, Hades is going to be out of range and not going to deal any return damage. Just like I was saying, it's so hard to counter that Anher, even with range units, right? Because the best counter to range units right now are a more powerful range unit, since melee are not going to retaliate against them. But Anher is able to bypass that with his unique ability.
I think this deck that Pot Pie has brought is just very good against Greek as well, simply because the strongest range unit they have is Medusa, which, if you can get that out, that's great, but if the Greek player doesn't get their Medusa out early on, they can really struggle here. And there's the Scylla being played, so is going to get the kill off that and get the buff to 4-1, but that will get traded out by that 1-1 archer, I'm assuming, on this next turn.
Well, at this point, I will use my Ra. You have board control, and you're not, in lethal range, so you can just trade 4 health into your Ra and just keep smashing that Poseidon with your range units, since he's not going to deal any damage because he's melee.
Mm-hmm. And you can also see this last turn, the Mr. C4 using his Whirlpool ability, spending that 2 mana just to get Anher in range for his Thanatos on the next turn, so he can use that Warcry and execute him since they'll be below 2 health. But he does have to worry about the possibility of this Geb coming out from Pot Pie healing him, or just the basic Ra heal.
Exactly. It is, if Ra chooses to heal Anher, he completely counters the preemptive play of Poseidon right now. And like he said, he decided to keep his health and trade the Archer, and the Need's going to root the Poseidon. So now this Poseidon's not going to be able to move, and we're potentially going to see, like you said, the Geb. And yeah, Anher will be the best play since Need is already at full health, and Anher was, like you said, close to the Thanatos range. And now Poseidon, with no board at all, being rooted. I mean, he does have 6 mana, we see... Yeah, we see on the other side of the board, like, Neith, Anher, and Geb being a total of 13 mana on play.
This has been so difficult for Mr. C4 in both games. I feel like he's just using his ability too much instead of spending that mana to develop a board, but at the same time, it's hard to develop that board when the range units came out so early from Pot Pie. And now anything he plays is just going to get immediately blown up, since they're not going to have return damage when those range units are not adjacent to them.
Yeah, exactly like you said. We saw the Bowman for 3 mana, then the Anher for 4, the Neith in 5. That was just range units after range unit. And we're going to see a Nemesis slowing the health of Geb and an Aphrodite in the corner. But then we see the Anher really stunning that Nemesis and just disappearing. Not even able to deal return damage because she was stunned. The Focus Blast gonna kill the Aphrodite. And we're gonna continue smashing down this Poseidon, who can't do anything against the Need.
This is a little rough for him right now. He has the teleport, which might be good to get out of range. There's also the possibility that I mean, he can't play Inyo or Nike in this spot simply because they're going to get traded out for free. What would you like to see him do here? What would you like to see Mr. C4 do here, Deathwalker?
Well, he's gonna have to use the teleport. The problem with the teleport then is that yes, he is out of range of the Neath, but picking up an Hebwa with a touch of Midas is gonna be able to recall that Anher.
Oh,
But the Anher was out of range, and the Neath is going to be in range of the Hebwa though. But the maps are so teeny that like exactly we see like the range from a range unit is 4 plus their movement, which is 6. And they can cover half of the map really easily, like you just saw with that Neath.
And once again, the Neath stays on board here. And it's almost a bait, because if Mr. C4 spends mana to kill it with his ability, which he probably has to at this point, he's got less mana to use some of his big damage. And the Anher just gets slammed once again. Here comes the Thanatos to clean up, just so he has a little bit more mana left in the tank. But all he can play here is another Thanatos. So Mr. C4 still very behind on board.
Yeah, like you said, he had to use his ability or to kill the Neath, or to use it to lower Anher into Thanatos range. And we're gonna see again this Anher just reigning supreme into this map. Like, I think that he is MVP. He pushed so much damage into Poseidon, and he's controlling the pace of the game.
And even now, he comes back. He just comes back on board. Anher starts dominating. He gets the stun on the Poseidon as well, so now he can't move. This has been, Potpie has had multiple of his units stunned and rooted in place from Neath, and he's just been on the full defensive, but he hasn't been able to build up any board. And once again, this Anher, it gets lowered. Its health, got lowered due to the whirlpool, but I'm assuming it's just going to get healed back up once again from Potpie. And there's the heal. Also, a really nice play there, using that Khepri to get the bonus damage. Obviously, Khepri attacks in a line and will buff any friendly units in that line for +1 damage, so setting up perfectly so the Raw can just finish off that Thanatos and continue applying pressure.
Yeah, I would like to note that Raw has 2 minion recruiters, but it's not able to use them since Poseidon doesn't have any minions in his deck. So he's basically playing with 2 less cards in his hand right now, but he still has so much pressure on this board. If Poseidon is able to deal with these last 3 units of Raw only has removal left in his hand, so we may see a comeback in this game.
It's possible, but it's not going to be the easiest. Oh, and a small misplay from Potpie there, too. He gave the bonus damage to Gab after he had already attacked with him. Even the best players make mistakes.
Yeah, we're going to see now Poseidon, again, being really low and having a lot of cards in hand, just like last game. And he's gonna have the Sanctuary to live one more turn, but then he cannot play any units, right? Because you play the Enyo, it dies to the Neath. You play the Nike, it dies to the Neath. You play the Khepri, it dies to the Neath.
I'm sensing a common story here, Deathwalker.
Yeah, exactly. There's no unit that he can play that will die to the 6/6 range Neath. And yeah, he's gonna have to use that Sanctuary on him, but I don't think there's any way. He will need 2 gods in order to use that Judgment and finish the Neath off, but he just doesn't have enough mana.
And he had already used, I think, all his low mana cost gods as well. He used both his Scylla's and both his Nemesis earlier on, I believe. I could be wrong. I know he used at least one of each.
Yeah, one of each at least, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was last game we saw a lot of Scylla's last game and a lot of Thanatos.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said, Raw having so much removal right now is going to be really easy to clean up that Enyo. He's going to use an Execute instead of the Neath on board, to be able to root you just use Neath to root the Poseidon so he cannot escape anymore.
I like it. I really like that play. He knows there's going to be no damage because of the Sanctuary, but instead just make sure the Poseidon stays in place, can't get anywhere. He already saw him use 1 teleport, so that's 1 less to worry about at the very least. Thanatos is drawn there, and so we are going to see Mr. C4 get a single kill here, but that's not going to be enough. The Neath stays on board, and it looks like that's going to be game 2, and Popeye going to advance on.
Exactly. We're going to see the finishing blow here with a handful of removals and 2 minion recruiter useless. Popeye is going to take game number 2.
That was just kind of a one-sided affair for both games, I would say, especially in that second game. Just a really good curve from Popeye to get out. You mentioned it already. The Decrepit Bowman into the On Her, into the Neath, just perfectly curved out. And Poseidon had no answer for any of them.
Exactly. And then you just saw the powerful, Ra had all of his powerful removals, but everything that Poseidon was playing was just dying to the range unit. So there was no need to use the removal. And he finished like with 4 of them in the hand.
Well, congratulations to Popeye, and we'll be right back with the second set of the game. Welcome back, everyone. We're into game 1 of the third round. This time, we've got Cookie taking on Baconator. Baconator, a long-time player in these tournaments. He's been around for quite some time. Cookie has been playing since the start as well, although a little bit less success. We know Baconator actually did get picked up by an esports organization representing Flashpoint today.
It's going to be interesting to see that both players choose to bring a Raw instead of Isis. Last tournament, we saw a lot of Isis, and now we're already seeing 3 Raws played.
And, Isis kind of lent herself better to, like, the mid-range style that a lot of people like to play, dropping a bunch of minions and then using her Protect 1 to reduce the damage they take. But people really have been valuing the Raw, it seems, just that heal being very powerful in certain matchups, I guess.
You're right, but Cookie here seems to have a mid-range style of deck with that Doom Speaker and that Scarab Blessing, a card that we don't see in everyone's list. It's going to be interesting to see how he used that tech card.
This is also unfortunate for Cookie. You see he's picked up 2 Ritual Tributes, which are obviously very strong cards, but they're both 6 mana. Ritual Tribute brings back 1 god from the grave, giving him, +2 health. And +2 damage, but he's not going to get a lot of value out of those for some time, and already a little bit behind on board because of that.
Yeah, he's going to either choose to Scarab Blessing his Doom Speaker right now and heal him, or to use the Magma Slam to smack down that Decrepit Bowman. And he's going to go with the defensive play, and there you see the heal and the Scarab Blessing. But then do you attack the cats? Or because if you're Doom Speaker attacks the cats, then it dies to the basic attack of Raw and the basic attack of the Decrepit Bowman. So yeah, you're going. I don't know if you attack then. Would you attack?
I don't know. I think I would, just to clear out these cats. Otherwise, they might get out of hand with body blockers or being able to kill whatever he drops next turn, which is going to be that Neath. So I actually do like this. It gets traded out, but he's got the Neath to just place on this next turn. And I'm assuming here, based on the hand, Baconator's just going to draw. Oh, no. I thought it was going to be the On Her, but the Khepri instead. How do you feel about the Khepri over the On Her, Deathwalker?
Well, playing a Khepri on turn 4 is really hard for Egyptians to take him down since it has 6 health. So it has basically no cards that can one-shot him. So you're sure that the Khepri is going to stick to the board. And if your Decrepit Bowman would have died, then that Khepri could have used to boost the 2 little 1/1s and deal massive damage to the board of Baconator.
That's true. And you can... Whoa, this is surprising too. That Neath's going to get cleared out, but taking 4 damage to the face. And you could see Baconator really focusing on just dominating and controlling this board. Really wanted to get rid of that Neath.
Yeah, interesting that he chose to not attack with the Decrepit Bowman to have a, not die to the basic attack of the Raw. So he's going to value board instead of pushing damage. So he's playing much more for, the value game into being sure that his opponent's going to run out of threats and that he's going to be able to close out the game like that.
Minion Recruiter drawn here by Baconator. Not going to get any use out of that, so it's likely to be the Focus Blast to take out this Osiris, I would assume. The Decrepit Bowman just going to do a little bit of damage, then the Raw after that, and then Focus Blast? Or would you rather see him develop that Geb on board?
I would have loved him to see move the Decrepit Bowman to the diagonal of Osiris so the Anhur could stun it for free and then attack it with the Decrepit Bowman and not take return damage. But the way he's going to kill it is also working really well, using the Khepri, like we said, to boost the attack of his Anhur, and it's going to take him down without even, no problem. That was really easy. And we see again the really powerful ability of Anhur.
And then Geb just placed right behind Cookie as well. He's kind of boxed in here. And this Khepri is getting a lot of value for Baconator. You don't normally see Khepri stay on board for too long because they are a pretty high priority target. But this has been pretty unfortunate draws for Cookie. He's drawn into his Decrepit Bowman now, but the only clear we've seen him have has been this single Magma Slam all game. And he hasn't even used it yet.
Exactly, and he cannot use it now because the Geb just boosted the hell out of the Anhur. Now the Anhur is out of range to be Magma Slam. And again, now Cookie
he
has
probably...
no...
Does he just Magma Slam the Khepri to get rid of it here?
Well, the Khepri's not really the one putting you a lot of pressure. You really have to deal with that Anhur. And I really like that he used the Ritual Tribute to get a Neath. And now the problem is that the Neath is just going to be stunned by the Anhur and be finished by the rest of the units.
That's the play we were talking about last time, where on her, if he hits a unit, he pushes them back 1 tile, and if that has a wall or another unit on it, they get stunned, which means these ranged units don't do any return damage, which is not going to be the best for Neath here. I'm assuming Cookie wasn't even playing around that.
Well, it's random whenever you spawn him with the Ritual Tribute, so he didn't really choose to put it there. But we're going to see Anubis bringing down the health of both Ra and Neath. And then the Anhur is just going straight to the face, and he's gonna ignore the Neath, it seems like. Ooh. Yeah, he's just going to ignore that Neath and go straight up for face, and that Neath is gonna be able to either kill the Anhur, who was dealing so much damage, or the Anubis in the backline.
I like it. When Anubis spawns in, his Warcry does damage in that 1x3 marker you can see there. And then any units that remain there after the next turn take an additional 3 damage. So because that on her stunned him in to the Decrepit Bowman in the back, it means it's a guaranteed 3 more damage in this spot. He also gets to kill the Neath with the return damage. And he's set up for lethal right now. And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be it. There's nothing else that Cookie can do in this spot. And that's going to be game 1 over to Baconator. Flashpoint Baconator coming out strong once again like he does every tournament.
Exactly. He didn't even choose to play something, Cookie. He know he was dead. Not enough clear, too much to deal with. And he's going to give up the first game.
All right, we'll be right back with game 2 of Cookie taking on Baconator. Hey everyone, welcome back once again. We're into game 2 of Baconator taking on Cookie. Baconator up 1-0 after the last match here. And Cookie playing an Odin, a champion, or excuse me, a god that we don't actually see played too often anymore. How do you feel about Odin's strength right now?
Odin is definitely powerful to boost your little units that only have 1 health, like the Curse Warriors or the Curse Hunters, and even the Fire Imp, so it doesn't die through anything on board. But Freya brings a lot more control with her banish, especially into the late game. And as we can see in the hand of Cookies, there's a Kang and a Hymir, so he's definitely playing for more mid-range style of play.
And this is so unfortunate for Cookie once again. This is actually not as bad as it was last time, since he does have that Doom Speaker. But the first 3 cards in his hand, 5 mana Kang, 5 mana Ymir, 4 mana Frenzy. So it's going to be a little bit to get going here. But he does have that Scotty out. And I'm assuming here he's just going to drop this Doom Speaker in place to combat the one that Cookie has already placed out.
Yeah, it's important to note that there's a 3/6 Doom Speaker on the side of things. And he's going to use the Urn of Health on his own Doom Speaker. I would have rather see it on the Scotty, because she's going to, she's your really big range units of the Norse Pantheon, with Soul being the other one. And you have, she's going to be able to really boost that Kaldir, so you want her to survive. And we're going to see his Doom Speaker being taken out with the Sign of Doom boosting that Marksman, and finish off with his own Doom Speaker.
And you can see Cookie behind on board once again, unfortunately for him. He's going to have a little bit of trouble here dropping a Thor. Once again, Baconator has a couple range units on board already. Like you mentioned, the Scion, the Marksman, and also obviously Zeus does a little bit of range damage. So it's kind of dangerous for Scotty to even push up at this time.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to know the placement of the Doom Speaker was moved out of the range of the Scotty. Even if she tries to move in, she's not in range. and that was before killing the Doom Speaker. So it's really important to, even if you know that you wanted to kill the Odin Doom Speaker, he decided to move out of range before making the attack, making it really important here so Doom doesn't die for free to the Scotty.
And you can see right there, Cookie also calculating out how far that Doom Speaker can move, so he's not going to be put in a bad spot. And he's just going to spend 2 mana and use Odin's buff ability to give that Kaldir 1/1, making him a little bit more difficult to take out here. And the draw from Baconator is an Inyo, actually, for 5 mana here. And do you just slam the Inyo in this spot, Deathwalker? Or do you use the Judgment to clear out that Scotty?
Oh no, you want to play the Annual. You have way too much value because you have your Zeus who's gonna be like doubling his attack. The Scion of Doom also. You're gonna have so much right here. Look at all these range units being really powerful. Your Scion of Doom and your Marksman are going to be able to take for free the. Oh, well he decides to trade the Zeus instead. But I would have used my Zeus to attack the Scotty. But you know he can always do that eventually since. You know, Odin going to have to retreat here.
Mm-hmm. And this was good placement. I mean, this is... Cookie is completely body blocked off away from the flag outside of pushing that Scotty forward, but that means it's just going to get picked off on the next turn if he does that. And so Cookie's got a decision to make in this spot. Would you just run away from the Inyo flag and force Baconator to fight you on the other side of the map?
Of course you need to. You cannot deal with you know all these really big. I mean, they're not big, but there's a lot of little range units. So you're gonna have to make your opponent get out of that flag to reduce the damage incoming from these units. So you're playing into an even field.
And it's a Ymir that comes out instead of the Kang. Kang, that monkey, is actually immune to ranged for those who are new to watching Smite Tactics. So that's actually very powerful. Against the units that Baconator has on board right now. Instead, he elects to slam the Ymir, which, when he does damage, he freezes the opponent, which essentially means they're not going to do return damage. Ymir, one of the stronger 5-drops in the game right now. And he's going to, Cookie's going to take a little bit of damage from these range units. But there's not much else that Zeus is going to play in this spot. He just drew a card, I believe.
Well, do you think he's going to use the teleport to teleport in the Scotty and kill her with the Enyo?
I don't think it's worth it right now. He's far enough ahead. He can use that teleport, I think, to bring Odin in. I'm not sure if Baconator runs a Deathbringer, but that might be better. Save that teleport, and then just put that Inyo next for lethal on a later turn.
Exactly. It's important to know that the only thing that the Scotty can really attack is the Marksman, which will be an even trade, or the Zeus. And we're going to see Odin advancing into the annual flag. Really? Oh my god. Okay, so moving the Odin's gonna open up the possibility of killing that Enyo. The Ymir's still out of range, but with that frenzy, he's gonna kill the Marksman, and now he's in a much better spot against the only thing that's alive is the Scion of Doom of Zeus.
You can see there is the Nemesis in hand, though, for Baconator. He can use that and steal that health away from Ymir, or use it to steal the health away from Scotty and follow up with that Thanatos to finish him off. But I think he's just going to Nemesis the Ymir and then use his Marksman to get it low enough, and then the Thanatos. Yeah, I think that's the best play he has in this spot. Unless would you have preferred a Hades just to push everyone away?
Oh, he had a lot of possibilities here. I would have loved to see, you know, Zeus can just move close to that flag and finish the Hades. He doesn't have to use his Thanatos for that. But he's going to choose to still do it, and I guess he's going to push damage, yeah, because now you're, like, Odin's starting to be really, really low with
9 health,
all of these.
What do you think? I mean, Cookie here, he has Banish, so he could just banish these 3 units, back up, kill the Thanatos, and then slam a Thor. Would you like? I think I would like to see that. I think I'd like to see him use this Banish in his hand right now. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to stop anything.
Exactly, banish and then developing either you know, the Tor or the Chao Fang. That would be really good. But you have to be careful because, you know, anything like a Blade Master from Baconator could be really, really like he's so low. Odin, I mean, that could be really lethal.
And he's going to drop a Scotty and then probably slam this Caldier right there next to Zeus. No, he actually plays it away from Zeus.
I would have loved him to see him box the Zeus there, since he would have been surrounded, so Zeus could have only placed units in the left of the flag, because remember that this flag makes it able to place units on board. But that will immobilize the Zeus, and he could have not be able to place that Hades in a good spot, fear away these two Scotties.
And is he going to drop the, okay, there it is. Coming down there. And yeah, I mean, this just sets up for lethal next turn, I believe. Unless Cookie can deal with this board. Oh, he should be fine. Never mind. He's got both. That's one thing, though. That Caldier is going to stay buffed just because he has two Scotties both out of range.
Yeah, but Cookie doesn't have any removal now, and he's rooted in place, so he cannot run. So he has to kill the Nemesis or the Steropes here, because they're the one that are dealing 3 damage. But he's just not gonna have any removal, and I believe that the Scotties are gonna have enough attack to kill that Hades. Is gonna have to invest 2 of his units to kill the Hades, and then the other Scotties out of range, and we're gonna see the finish of the Steropes, Nemesis, and Sign of Doom finishing this game for Baconator.
That's unfortunate. I think I would have liked to see that Kang come on board instead of the Ymir a couple turns ago, because Kang is immune to ranged, and that marksman that was the first thing that was played. Baconator left his marksman up the entire game since turn 1. The entire game,
yeah.
Deathwalker.
Well, that's a Sign of Doom, but yeah, the marksman did a lot of stuff. Don't worry, but yeah, these 2 little minions, like, even if they only have 1 attack, they did so much in the game. And like you said, the marksman was really important. He got like 3 attack and traded for 2 units, and then the Sign of Doom, same thing. But yeah, I get your point.
It was very effective overall, Deathwalker. All right, guys, that's going to be it for round 3. Baconator 2-0 over Cookie. We're going to advance on with a first semifinal here in just a few minutes. Hey everyone, welcome back once again. Adonis joined by Deathwalker.
Deed shall be
SMITE
written in my light.
tournament action. This time we're into the semifinals. It's Aurelius taking on Belgian Grump. Belgian Grump, a regular in these tournaments, has been around for quite some time, but has yet to make it to the finals. This time facing off against Aurelius, who is the repeat second place tournament player from last week in his the first time he entered a tournament after only picking up the game a few weeks ago, makes it all the way to the finals before losing to Singularity. Now he's facing up against the regular Belgian Grump, and we're going to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what Aurelius is going to bring with this Guan Yu, because last tournament he was playing the Chinese Nuwa leader for his main games, right? He was always choosing her Nuwa to go first, and now we see a Guan Yu, so it's going to be really interesting to see if he decides to change his playstyles with a more control Guan Yu because of his ability to make a Crescent Blade and deal 1 damage to a non-leader unit. But it seems like with that White Tiger, he still have some really early pressure, and we're going to see Chang'e being played, and then he's just going to go straight to face like he loves to do. But interesting enough, the White Tiger here is not going to attack.
And I think he's just trying to keep it healthy there. Gets it healed by Chang'e as well. He doesn't really have... He does have his Chao Fang for next turn, but... I mean, just comparing the hand sizes right now, Belgian has a lot of options here if he can delay out the pressure that Aurelius probably wants to put on. And he kind of has... He doesn't really have dead cards, but Manifold Blade and Recall probably not the best to spend this early on in the match. And and Aurelius just drew another Recall, which you don't really want to recall a Chaos Spawn.
Yeah, Chaos Spawn is one of the cards, like, you don't... Giving that another silence in the deck, because there's not a lot of silence, let's be honest. It's the only one who's neutral is the Chaos Spawn, and then the other silence in the game is in the Chinese Pantheon, so you don't want to give your opponent multiple silence into going through this game.
And yeah, for those who don't know, Chaos Spawn, his war cry when he comes in, he silences a enemy unit, which means their ability or passive no longer works. In this case, he actually used it on Chang'e, who at the end of each turn will heal her friendly adjacent units for 1, so that healing can really stack up and get annoying. So I like the decision to play that. That was really the only play that Belgian had, though, that turn.
Yeah, we're going to see here, there's not a lot of choice for Belgian Grump in the Zeus. He's going to Smite Back Tiger and use the basic attack of Zeus in combination with Thanatos to kill that Chao Fang before it deals too much damage.
And yeah, so I like that decision. Just take him out nice and easy there. Start establishing a board. You can see he does have to worry a little bit. Oh, and then Aurelius with the perfect top deck actually just drew the transfusion. So he's going to be able to trade out that Thanatos for free here.
Exactly. Transfusions is a card that makes the attack of your unit equals to the health that they have. So Chang'e being... even if she has 0 attack, transfusing her will make it 4 attack, and she's a range unit for those who don't know. So a 4/4 that can heal, but she's silenced right now. But that's a lot of value. A 4/4 that can heal your army whenever she's there. And if Zeus would wait a little bit to silence her after the transfusion, you would get a lot more value. But now we're going to see the Chang'e, which is one of the only range unit with 3 movement. As we can see where Aurelius is one to moving her now. She's going to be able to take the Thanatos down really easily. And with the Crescent Blade and the basic attack, I believe, of Guan Yu, he's going to be able to finish this Chaos Spawn. He could also have used the Tiger, but I think he's just waiting for a second transfusion, and he's letting his Tiger grow really big. As we can see, I don't think he's going to attack again like he did in the early stages of the game. And now it's Zeus turns to how he's going to answer that Chang'e.
But he did just get actually a perfect draw for this combination. You see that Fire Imp there going to be played just right there in the adjacent corner, and Fire Imp, just a very cheap 2/1 that has charge, very good at dealing with some pesky units or getting them low enough for certain combinations like this. Thanatos, when he comes into play, he's going to execute any minion or god or unit at 2 health or below, so a nice combination there to deal with that Chang'e, who would have been quite annoying if it had stayed on board. And now it's just going to be Belgian having to back up here, but he has backed himself into a corner.
Yeah, I mean, Belgian drop has a lot of big drops in his hand. We can see double Nike, Medusa and Hades and a Fire Giant. These are all really big cards with a lot of health and attack. And from the other side of the board, there's Aurelius with 2 recalls and Manifold Blade, but he actually just stopped deck the Sun Wukong, and that's gonna help him a lot here because he was running out of gas.
Yeah, and he has two. That was the perfect card. Aurelius has been very good with the top decks this game so far. So he has 2 options here for Sun Wukong, though. He can just body block in this Zeus, which it looks like he wants to do, or he could potentially use the Ox form. For those who don't know, when Sun Wukong is played, he has 3 forms. And the Ox form, what that does is does 2 AoE damage, and your attacks now knock back. So he could use that to clear out the Thanatos if he wants. But it's really an option up to him. What would you like to see here, Deathwalker?
I want to see him corner the Thanatos with the Tiger, the White Tiger, and the Sun Wukong.
Corner
And
the
that
Zeus, you
will
mean?
make what?
Corner the Zeus, you mean?
Oh yeah, corner the Zeus.
Okay.
Oh my God, what am I looking at? Because cornering the Zeus will make him that he cannot escape anymore. So that will make him the range from Zeus really useless. But he's going to choose to play the Sun Wukong and kill the Thanatos. Really interesting because he could have just used the Thanatos was out of range of everything, so it was not really a big deal if he wanted to corner the Zeus. But now we're going to see that Zeus is gonna still be escaping, and it seems like yes, and Hades is going to push away the Sun Wukong and root him for the next turn. So the Sun Wukong gets punished for that positioning.
He's still going to stay on board, though, at the very least. And Aurelius here picking up a Dragon King this turn, so no new unit to play on board. And this is kind of a rough spot. We mentioned it earlier where, as a player, you don't really want to recall certain units, one of those being Chaos Spawn, since his Warcry silences. That can be really annoying if someone uses it multiple times. And Hades is kind of the same way, where we just saw the Hades fear everyone away. Considering the fact that Aurelius's minions on board are melee right now, probably doesn't want to use the recall there. So, I mean, Aurelius doesn't really have a good play this turn. What would you do in this spot, Deathwalker?
Well, you definitely don't want to use the Dragon King on the Hades. He is a really big threat, but the thing is then you're left with not a lot of options, and you always want to play that Dragon King where you can hit multiple targets and get more value out of it. So we're going to see him just go with a Crescent Blade, but it's going to be really a hard decision if he decides to recall or not the Hades, because at that point there's so many cards in Zeus' hand, but they all cost so much that he can only play 1 each turn. So recalling the Hades is not that big of a deal.
Well, he did it. So the Hades is back in, and that means we're also going to have to see Aurelius be constantly aware of that Hades, because I don't think the Hades is going to come out this turn again. I don't really think it's worth it. I think I'd rather see a Nike be dropped in this corner here that he's about to put himself in.
Oh, I would like to see a Medusa, because Medusa being range with the combination of the range of Zeus, is going to be able to attack any target and then just finish it out with Medusa, which makes it a really perfect combo to go together. And Zeus having so much health, he can take return damage from any range units, and it will not matter. But we're going to see the Nemesis, and then there's the Medusa, like I would say.
You definitely had the right play. I will admit the Medusa Nemesis definitely a much stronger play there, and the draw is Stone Guardian. But the thing is, that Medusa is lined up right now if Dragon King wants to be played here, or excuse me, if Aurelius wants to play Dragon King. But that means he won't be able to develop that Stone Guardian. I think we're going to see a recall used on this Medusa, since he did have both in hand. And there it is, back to hand. And this is one of the weak parts about Greek, is that they do have a lot of very strong minions, all right? Fire Giant, Nike, another Nike, a Hades, a Medusa. But if they're getting recalled every time they're played, it's very hard to catch back up in the game.
Yeah, but at the same time, Aurelius right now is really running out of steam. He's going to have to rely on his White Tiger and on the Sun Wukong to really bring the damage. The Stone Guardian is going to be played, and that's is one of his last threat. He's gonna rely on the draws from the next turn to really continue to be relevant in this game.
He can clear out this Nemesis with the Manifold Blade and the last Crescent Blade in his hand if he wants, but do you really want to invest that much? I mean, I guess Aurelius is going to invest that much. How do you feel about that, Deathwalker?
It's removing the possibilities from your opponent, because remember that he recalled the Hades, so the Hades could have pushed away the Guan Yu, making the Nemesis going and tag that Stone Guardian. So I think it was a smart move to kill him, and we're going to see the Hades fearing again the Sun Wukong, like I just mentioned. But now he has a Stone Guardian to be able to damage the Hades from out of range. Since gonna get +1 range at the start of each of his turn with that Stone Guardian.
Stone Guardian can be very deadly if left on board because of what you just said, where his range increases. And for those who don't know, the ranged for ranged characters, it's a range of 4. There's a couple things that increases that, like Wind Demon, but Stone Guardian's going to get an increase in range each turn, which means if he's 5 spaces away from another ranged character, there's going to be no return damage. And also, there's another ranged character come out, and an Archer being played there.
Yeah, the Archer with the ability that each spell you're gonna play is gonna be deal 1 additional random damage to the units of your opponent. And we're gonna see it miss to the Zeus there, and he's going to use that White Tiger, who was healthy throughout the whole game, to get the extra damage and finish off that Zeus. That means that Aurelius is at a really decent spot right now. But Belgium Gromp is gonna have so much right now, but he's only 9 mana, which means he can only play 1 card again, and that's really hurting him.
I mean, he could draw a card as well, but there's really not much point at this time. I would like to see a Blade Master, I think, would be pretty solid here, just to kill off the Imperial Archer, but it does leave room for that Stone Guardian to pick it off. And instead, going to play the Fire Giant just to get that bonus damage. Fire Giant gives all your friendly units +1 damage to that Zeus, able to take out that White Tiger.
So we're gonna have an Emperor's Prize, which is gonna make the one you draw 1 card for each of his units on board, including his leader. So he's gonna go ahead and draw 4 cards. That's gonna really help him to come back into this game. As we can see, now he has the option of using the Wad to return the Fire Giant to the hand. He can also play the Blade Master to get some more board presence. Or he could just go with the combination of Chang'e Transfusion and play it out of range of the Fire Giant, which will also be good. He has so many good options now.
Yeah, I mean, he also has the Dragon King to push face, but again, Aurelius, just with these perfect draws, gets the Emperor's Prize when he has so many units on board. Easily the best card he could have picked up there, and then, like you said, he just got all those options picked up after that. Fire Giant back in hand, and we've already talked about it. Belgian Grump has all these units, but he can only play 1 each turn. Now, he can play 2 5-drops this next turn, but he is in a lot of trouble with that Chang'e being dropped because it is lethal next turn 100% with that Dragon King.
Oh yeah, that's some damage that you don't always expect, and you can't always play around that, right? We're gonna have to make some hard trades. For example, do you attack that head wall right now, knowing that you will drop to 10, because you don't have any other real good removal left?
Oh, he drops the Blade Master. He really wants to finish off that Sun Wukong there. And he does have a Chaos Spawn as well. I almost would have liked to see the Hades. If the Zeus had moved to where the Blade Master is now and then drop the Hades and fear everyone away, but instead it's going to be the Chaos Spawn coming down and silencing the Stone Guardian. I actually really like that option, but I'm pretty sure this is lethal with Transfusion and Dragon King. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's lethal. And Aurelius is going to take this game.
I hope that he's going to see it, and he is a player who really likes to go face, so I guess he's not going to miss that easy lethal here, and it seems like it's going to be the end. He can also kill it with the Blade Master.
He had 2 lethal combinations. He had multiple ways to end that game, but Aurelius coming out on top there in game 1. We'll be right back with game 2. Hey guys, welcome back once again. It is Aurelius taking on Belgian Grump. Aurelius going up 1 game in the last matchup. And into game 2 we go. This time, Belgian sticking with his Zeus and Aurelius switching to his Zeus. We actually didn't see him play a Zeus, I don't believe, in the last tournament either, or a Greek Pantheon deck in the last tournament. So this is something new coming out from Aurelius.
Yeah, we never saw him on Zeus. He was playing the Egyptian last tournament, and it's going to be interesting to see what he brings into his deck. Is it going to be like a lot of the Greeks decks that they roll a lot of high mana units, or is he going to go with a lot of early curves, is like we just see the Doom Speaker and the Marksman?
Yeah, I think this is a lower curve deck than most players typically run, but I will say Aurelius has had a lot of success running stuff that other people don't play. He also played a Ho Yi last tournament as well, which no one else really runs at a high level, so he's finding use out of things that people typically don't respect or value.
Exactly, and I think that that's something that he has going for him, because people don't play as often against these cards, so maybe they don't, they don't do exactly, they don't play around them. Like other people, they will play around cards that maybe he decides to not play instead and play deck cards, just like the Ho Yi, like you said.
And right now, it's going to be a Nemesis played by Belgian, just trying to set up a body block here. There's a few options for Aurelius here. He could just trade out this Nemesis, and then he doesn't really have another play outside of that. I think I would like to see him draw a card here and then trade out that Nemesis. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, but he has a lot of options, because he can also go with the urns if he decides to do that. So drawing a card is not bad, but he could play, like, for example, Sign of Doom to get one of the urns. Exactly what he's gonna go for.
Oh, and he got a health urn too.
Yeah, and then he gets so much value out of it. He's gonna play the Nemesis. He's gonna move in, trade, I believe.
Oh.
But then, yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Playing that Nemesis to steal the health of the Nemesis. I mean, he could have finished him off either way, but it seems like he really wants to push face damage and get that second god out there. A lot of players save their Nemesises more for dealing with big health units. I mean, especially in a Greek v Greek matchup, I am surprised to use that this early on.
Yeah, we see double Nemesis coming really fast in the game when they could have been safe against, for example, Hades, Blade Master, Ares. There's a lot of stuff that Nemesis gets a value in the Greek Mirror.
And this Thanatos just going to come out, but immediately traded by that Scion of Doom there. So it's still full control, but the hands are going the way of Belgium right now, right? He's just like full-handed right now. There's only a Blade Master and Hades, and that Urn of Attack picked up for Aurelius. Sorry.
Yeah, he does also have an Hades who will be able to win a lot of time against that Nemesis and that Enyo, but then he's gonna also have to deal with the flag, because the flag is something that really gives a lot of power to your army,
especially to Zeus, who's just has that like permanent range 2 damage. And you can see the Hades does come out and pushes everyone away for Belgium, just trying to create a little bit of space. And Scion is picked up once again here for Aurelius. Are we going to see the Scion come out? I think so. And buff that Nemesis, I would imagine.
Yeah, and then you can finish the Hades with the basic attack of your Zeus and draw a card at the same time, which wouldn't be that bad, honestly. Trading your Nemesis for the enemy Hades and putting another range unit on board on top of the flag, which it's something to consider really, really good. But he's going to decide to keep all of his units and play in Hades instead, a naked Hades.
Would you? How do you feel about this? I feel like that's a bit of a misplay, unless he just really wants that Hades on board. I mean, it is a 3/6 Hades now, and that Judgment in hand for Belgian Grump. For those who forgot, we mentioned it earlier. Judgment does 2 damage to any enemy, any enemy unit, but does 4 when you have 2 gods out. But obviously, Belgian does not have 2 gods out, so he won't get that buff damage from it.
He's going to go with the Mana Potion and Blade Master, which gonna be easily answered from by Aurelius with the Hades on board right now.
And it just, yeah, Belgian's still getting really far behind. The Marksman is drawn here for Aurelius. I feel like Belgian really needs to kill this flag, because there's 2 range units in the hand of Aurelius right now. Obviously, Belgian doesn't know that, but range units are very powerful when they have that +1 damage buff when they're adjacent to the Enyo flag, and it can get out of hand pretty quickly if he's not careful.
Yeah, and the placement of the flag right in the middle of the map gives you like range on the whole map except the corner themselves. So it's really hard to avoid these range units in a so tiny map like SMITE Tactics has.
And probably just going to see this Marksman come out. Oh, did he draw that? Oh, no, excuse me. He had it in his hand.
Yeah, he had it in his hand, and we all know this playstyle of Aurelius. He's just going to go for the most damage played.
Face. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was. I think the card was a little bit off on my screen there, but that makes a little bit more sense. Aphrodite drawn, not that useful, so we're going to see Divine Intervention played by Belgian Grump. That draws 2 gods from his deck, and from that he grabs his own Enyo as well as a Nemesis.
We're going to see the Nemesis lowering the attack of that Blade Master, and he's going to have to use the Judgment to finish him off.
And
there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I don't really think he wanted to use that Judgment early on, especially without getting it buffed. But at this point, Belgian has to fight back for control of this game. And this is a really interesting Zeus Deathwalker. A Brontis is in here as well. We've seen, what, exactly. 2 Scion of Dooms, 2 Marksmen, 2 Brontis. This is a really low curve deck. Are you surprised to see that?
And the second Brontis pick up from the draw right here. So, yeah, and the flag is not getting killed. So we're going to see, again, a lot of value out of the flag, boosting that 3/6 Hades that you feel was a misplay, but he already killed the Blade Master, and now a Nemesis, and he's still full health. So that was really a really good play, playing that naked Hades before.
Yeah, he's got a ton of value out of it. And then, again, just these... We've seen this time and time again with these Zeus decks where they're just stuck with all these big cards and they get behind on board and they can't really play them. And it's really bad when you're facing up against this Hades and this Marksman who are both buffed right now. So these range units have a really easy time of picking up these other units that are played. I almost would have rather seen that Thanatos played to kill the Marksman than the Brontis at this point.
Yeah, me too. I feel like Thanatos is one of the best cards to kill the marksmans. And we're going to see a defensive Aphrodite on the Zeus here. Maybe he's scared of Deadbrainers from his opponent. But I really feel like Aurelius like grabs the problems of the Greek decks. And we can see him with... he still have a lot of cards in hand. And their all costs are really cheap.
Really low.
Exactly. He can play basically his whole hand right now if he wants to, or choose to keep some and draw an extra card, and he really gets the value from playing all these cards, right?
He's gonna clear board with this. I mean, he has a Thanatos. He also has 2 damage on the Zeus, so he can kill that Afro and then use the Thanatos execute to finish it off, and then his Marksman can finish off the enemy's Thanatos there, Belgian Thanatos, and yeah, that's exactly what he's gonna do, and then pump 3 damage into the Zeus afterwards.
I want to see the Urn of Attack being used on the Hades. Like, he was stuck there for like almost 4 turns. So I don't think he's going to be killed anytime soon now. It's much easier to kill, for example, the Marksman and the Thanatos. So it's not going to be prioritizing that Hades. So that Urn of Attack right now could maybe potentially set up lethal for next turn.
That Hades has sat on board all game and has not moved. And it looks like Aurelius, you can see him highlighting, maybe debating the Scion of Doom. And there it is. There's the Urn of Attack, just pumping a little bit of extra damage, just like he wanted. And
but now, Belgian Grump.
Does he have an answer?
Sorry. I mean, he's going to be able, like I said, to kill the Thanatos and or the Marksman. But he's still not answering the flag. And that flag got so much value.
Oh, man. That flag...
Here.
MVP of this game was that flag. And also the Hades. I thought it was a misplay, but Aurelius got it on board, and you know, if Belgian doesn't have an answer, which he didn't, it's hard to recover from.
Yeah, he couldn't invest things to kill the flag, and he had to deal with the Hades at the same time, and the flag was buffing the Hades. It was such a nightmare to deal with that board, and he just surrendered at the end.
That's unfortunate. Belgian not going to be able to make it to the finals, but Aurelius is going to return, and we're going to be right back with the finals in just a moment. Pot Pie, who we did cast earlier, has advanced on as well, so it will be Pot Pie in his first appearance in the finals, taking on Aurelius, who finished second in the last one. We'll be right back with the final matchup. Welcome back, everyone. Once again, we are into the finals. It is Pot Pie, who we watched earlier, taking on Aurelius, who we just watched defeat Belgian Grump. And again, it is this Chinese pantheon being played by Aurelius in game 1 of the finals. Just to note, guys, these are best of 5, so these players need to win with each of their decks this time.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to start again with a Guan Yu, and he's going to decide to use the mana potion early to get that Doom Speaker instead of the White Tiger on board, already putting a lot of pressure on Pot Pie, who's gonna answer with an early Nemesis and attack that Doom Speaker. Do you like that? Knowing that the Doom Speaker here is just gonna trade with the Nemesis.
It's okay. Simply because we both know that if Greek gets behind, it is very bad for them. So I think this is an okay play to make sure that Pot Pie doesn't get too far behind on board. Especially, I mean, at this point, we know Aurelius's playstyle, and I think Pot Pie does too, where it's just full aggro. So anytime you can slow that pace down, and he also has a really good hand. Pot Pie actually has a very good hand to deal, I think, with China. Double Thanatos, an Aphrodite, and a Fire Imp.
Well, that hand is not going to be really great against the Doom Speaker. It could have really killed the Imperial Archer easily, but that Doom Speaker just had too much health right now to be able to be removed by Thanatos, and he's going to opt for the defensive Aphrodite.
I like this. The Pot Pie is going to take a little bit of damage here, but you could see he's just holding this to make sure the Guan Yu can't get past the choke and play anything. And you can see Aurelius has to go down the corner. He has a couple options here. I really like Uguay in this spot, just placing it in between the Aphrodite and the Zeus. Uguay at the end of each turn gains +1/+1, so he can become pretty devastating if he's left on the board for too long.
Yeah, Uguay is gonna be the play, but then he's gonna be taken out by the Thanatos and the basic attack of Zeus and Aphrodite combined. But do you think he's gonna give up the choke point and let that Doom Speaker in? And it seems like that will be the plan.
Doesn't want to take too much damage, I'm assuming there. And the Doom Speaker's still on board as well. On top of the fact that Aurelius can simply use his ability, Guan Yu's ability, spend 2 mana, get a Crescent Blade, which is going to do 1 damage. And instead, it's actually the Hades instead of the Thanatos there.
Oh yeah, taking the advantage of the Aphrodite and Zeus range and to fear the melees away from them and make sure to get the damage in. Now Aurelius pick up the transfusion, but there is no like White Tiger with a lot of health or Chang'e on the board. He's gonna have to like maybe use the Imperial Archer in combination with the Manifold Blade to get some damage on board, or you can't play the Chao Feng right here because he's not Kang. He's immune to melee, not range.
So he could also, and I don't know what you think about this. Drop the White Tiger, then use the Manifold Blade because he has 2 beasts on board. That means it's going to do 1 extra damage for each. So the Manifold Blade will deal 4 damage if he drops that White Tiger, and then he can finish it off with a Crescent Blade.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to see that being played onto the Hades and kill the Hades.
Yeah.
Because, you know, killing the Hades instead of the Aphrodite here would have secured you Uguay to not die. But now it's going to be traded by the basic of Zeus and the basic of Hades. And Pot Pie picking up the Scylla going to be... Oh, she's going to use the Scylla to kill? Wait a second, I'm a little bit confused here. I mean, I thought he wanted to kill the Uguay really easily, but he really played that Hades attack really fast on the right side of things.
I wonder if
now it feels.
Yeah, I wonder if he meant to do that. You could see him moving in range. He can Doom Speaker this, and then he can also drop the Fire Imp in range, but he won't have enough. No, this is. I think
it's working.
Yeah, I think I would have rather seen the. Has he Zeus basic attacked already?
No.
Okay, so he's gonna do
there
this.
You
yes,
go.
This is the better play. Okay, he figured it out. I think Pot Pie had the best possible play there. He also has his Scylla safely tucked away from that White Tiger and the Guan Yu.
Yeah, Aurelius picked up the Crescent Blade last turn and didn't use it. He's going to be able to pick a second one to kill off that Scylla if he wants, and he's going to be able also to play an Imperial Archer to get the extra damage from the spells.
Ooh,
But
he's highlighting
he's gonna,
transfusion.
yeah, exactly. He's gonna choose to clear the whole board and to have a 4-2 on the board, which we can see it's gonna be heavily punished by the Thanatos on the next turn, though.
And Popeye has held these Thanatoses all game, I think, just for these specific reasons. Would you have rather seen the Imperial Archer come out and just leave the Hades for now?
Well, depending on the random damage from the Imperial Archer, maybe he could have taken down the Hades. I'm not sure. But now picking up the recall is going to really help him to delay that Doom Speaker. And with the Imperial Archer and Crescent Blade, if he gets lucky, he could one-shot the Thanatos. And if he doesn't get lucky, then he can just basic attack it with the Guan Yu.
And he also has recall if he really wants to. He could send that Doom Speaker back. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
He's gonna be able to clear this, right? It's just a matter of how does he want to clear it.
Yeah, like the way I see it, it's Imperial Archer first, then you recall to get the damage maybe on the Thanatos, and then you Crescent Blade it to finish it if it's not dead. Or you could, you could keep your Crescent Blade in hand to deal with future damage and go with your face to kill the Thanatos.
I think I would rather see that. I think I would rather see that come out, like you mentioned, a little bit later, and like just save the Crescent Blade. Because you also have that. He also has that second Imperial Archer that he can use to combo with it too.
Yeah, exactly. You get much more synergy for that. But ooh, he's gonna recall before, so he's gonna go with the Chao Fang, and Chao Fang's gonna be immune to Thanatos, and Thanatos is gonna be out of range of the Guan Yu, and now he's gonna have the surprise attack with the Imperial Archers. And the Chao Fang play is going to be heavily punished by the second Thanatos in hand from Pot Pie.
And there it is. But we do know this Imperial Archer is going to
oh my god.
And this is interesting. Oh, did he just draw a Sun Wukong top deck?
Oh my god. He is so lucky with the...
Aurelius, yeah, he's just going to move back one. And Sun Wukong, when he comes out, he's just going to pick the Ox form and do 2 AoE damage to all the units around him, which is going to hit both Thanatoses perfectly.
Oh my god, that was... Actually, man, the Sun Wukong is in the spirit of Aurelius. They're just linked together.
He is meant to play Chinese, I think. Meant to play it.
Oh, that's a huge drop, though. The Ares putting the Sun Wukong in range of the Doom Speaker and the Zeus. They could push a lot of damage on it. It's going to be able to be finished on the next turn. But now Aurelius has a free turn to, if he wants to play these both Imperial Archers and then 2 Crescent Blades, and he can just pray through RNG that he's going to kill the Doom Speaker.
I would rather see a Stone Guardian and Imperial Archer, because that's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, and then he can use his ability to get another Crescent Blade. And there's the first Crescent Blade. So I think that's the combination he's going to go for, just to develop the Stone Guardian and maybe block him in that corner, and then just start chunking damage. I know we went over Stone Guardian earlier, but for those who are new to Tactics, each turn Stone Guardian's range increases. All range characters start at 4, and so return damage won't happen if Stone Guardian gets up to 5 range, and he is out on the edge there. But it is going to be the double Imperial Archer. He doesn't get the RNG hits to finish off the Doom Speaker, but he does do it with the Guan Yu.
Pot Pie is going to pick up the Judgment, and that will be really huge. Being able to combine that with the Nike, it's going to be able to not only kill the Sun Wukong, but also kill an Imperial Archer and have a really healthy Ares that's still on board.
And yeah, this is getting real rough. A 3-6 and a 6-4, 6-5, excuse me, out right now. Chang'e going to be picked up by Aurelius here. So I'm assuming he's going to back himself into the corner. He could also drop. He could also run to the right and drop the Stone Guardian, and that'll be out of range of the Nike. But he does run the risk of getting Deathbringered, which we know that Popeye doesn't have in hand, but I'm not exactly sure if he runs it or not.
Yeah, if he does run it, you're scared right now
Not worth the
because
risk. Yeah.
exactly. And it's also important to know that the Crescent Blades can't go into Nike because she's immune to spells, so he can't easily kill her right now. He's gonna go with some damage on the Ares, but he's gonna be like you said, he's gonna go in the corner and then he's gonna play a Chang'e and the Stolen Guardian. But how do he wants to block? He can block or the top pat or the right pat. So it really depends which of these units he doesn't want to go in.
I think you block. I think you put the Chung. Oh, I think I would have rather seen the Chung out of the right there to body block that Nike from coming in. Just so he couldn't kill off the Stone Guardian without trading his Ares. Because now this Nike can just kill the Stone Guardian, and then the Ares can kill the Archer in the bottom.
Exactly, and you have the judgment if you want to finish off that Chang'e before she gets transfuged. Because we know that Aurelius is really good with the top decks.
Oh, yeah, and Popeye actually just picked up a Scion as well. So the Ares could also trade into the Chang'e to finish him off, or excuse me, finish her off, and use the Judgment on. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen, I think. I think Scion of Doom's going to come out. No, he actually trades. That's interesting. He actually trades the Ares into the Stone Guardian instead of killing the Chang'e off and using the Nike to finish the Stone Guardian.
Yeah, if we see a transfusion being drawn the next turn, he will be heavily punished for that play, and the Nike will go down for free.
He'll be looking back on that one, but for now the Guan Yu is on 9 health, so he's not exactly in the best spot.
What's the draw? Un Hebois. So that will win him some time, but he's not out of the jungle yet. He's still going to have some other good draws here if he wants to bring back this game.
Yeah, I mean, would you like to see... So the Hobwall is going to be dropped in that corner. Do you think Guan Yu will be moved up as well to body block for the Hobwall?
I mean, the Hobwall is just going to die to the Zeus. He's on 19 health. He's not close to lose right now, but it's going to be interesting if he can try to limit the decisions from Pot Pie. It's going to be useful. It's really interesting to go and trade 2 health to deal the damage to that Steropes.
I'm surprised to even use the Crescent Blade. Just because it's 0 mana, it doesn't really matter at this point. But Marksman going to be drawn, the Hobwall going to be traded out, and this is just Aurelius on top deck mode. He just needs to get something, and since Nike is immune to spells, even Dragon King won't save him here. And it's a White Tiger.
That we're going to see the instant surrender after that.
Oh,
I mean, there was so much pressure on board, and the Chang'e got hit to 1 health, so even the transfusion wouldn't been enough right now to kill the Nike. And it's going to be GG.
Yeah, so that was game 1 of the finals, guys. Remember, this is a best of 5. We'll be right back with game 2. And welcome back once again, everyone. We're into game 2 of the finals. Adonis still joined by Deathwalker. The last game we did just watch Pot Pie go up 1-0 with his Zeus deck. And once again, Aurelius is back at it. He loves Chinese Pantheon. Last week it was Nuwa. This week it's Guan, but he clearly feels confident in this deck.
Exactly, and he's not going to be scared advancing right into the face, attacking that urn, and developing the White Tiger. We're just going to make sure that he's going to get the urn for free if your opponent doesn't play anything. And are we going to see a minion recruiter from Raw getting one of the Hoopways?
That's pretty brutal. But luckily for Aurelius, he does have this Hobwa, who I think is going to be used, and that's exactly what happens. Just trying to clear the board and stay aggressive. This is a great hand for Aurelius. Let's talk about this. Transfusion Chang'e, Imperial Archer with an Urn of Health and Mana Potion to proc, and the Dragon King. This is kind of scary for Aurelius. He does have this Oogway and Neath, but this could get dangerous.
I really like the Urn of Health here because, I mean, the Ra is not in range of the Hebois, but if he chooses to, he could Urn of Health the Hebois, and that will be a 3/3 range. It is something that is really powerful, especially that he got the tempo out of the recall from the Hebois battle cry.
And right now, I believe it is Popeye making his move here. Is it? No, excuse me. No, it's still Aurelius. Sorry, I was looking. I got confused for half a second, Deathwalker, but we're here now. And I think that's what he's debating too, on if he wants to use that Urn of Health or not. But I don't know if it's a lot of value to do it just yet. And he's going to save it. I actually really like this spot simply because a Magma Slam could finish off the Hebo.
Exactly, and we're going to see double Sunder with the Ra advancing in the range of the White Tiger. Oh, it's because he's going to heal after, I see. And it's going to use both Sunders in there, getting the value out of them, and then the heal. So, yeah, that leaves in an even board with Guan Yu having 4 mana to do whatever he wants. And it's going to be a Chang'e, and he's going to transfuse it right now. So this is really weak if Ra has an Execute.
No, he didn't draw it, though. He has On Her and Neath in hand. I'm assuming he's just going to slam the Neath, so that can probably try and trade effectively, but it's so... Popeye cannot trade into this Chang'e right now. That's what's scary. It's also important to note that Aurelius could have used the Urn of Health on his Chang'e before he transfused it to make a 7/7.
That would have been a monster. But you do play a lot more into the Execute, though. And because he didn't do that, now he can Urn of Health his other Hebois, and then he will have such a good board. I really like that.
He's not going to Urn of Health it, though. He's saving this Urn of Health. I think he is really worried about the clear potential. Is Neath going to be slammed here again? I mean, it has to be. What other option does he really have? Oh, no, I guess Geb. But that'll get picked up by the range units pretty easily. I think this is Pot Pie just trying to delay as much as possible in this game.
Oh, I'm really surprised he didn't go with the clear on the Hebois. This leaves your Geb to be cleared really easily. But I think this is a bait. Because if you use the Chang'e and the Hebois to kill your Geb...
Annihilation next turn.
Exactly. Then you get the value from Annihilation. And you're triggering, that Geb here is going to take 8 plus the health that it give you, meaning that the Geb would have give you like a value of 11 health. That was a lot.
And Aurelius here just gonna play a Sun Wukong again, has that Sun Wukong on 6 perfectly, and I think he's just going face. I mean, look at his hand. Aurelius has Dragon Key and Manifold Blade. And that is, what is that, 6, 7, 8? That's 8 damage in hand guaranteed. And he's going to put the Raw to 8. So he's setting up for, Aurelius is just setting up for lethal this turn. Even if Annihilation is played, there's no way he can stop this.
Yeah, there's not enough. This is not enough. The Sun Wukong will still live with 1 health. And he didn't even need it because Dragon King Manifold Blade was enough damage to finish him. And... this is a GG. It's a really fast game.
It's a quick one. Popeye doesn't even let Aurelius use Dragon King. He's just like, F6, get me out. Get me out. I'm done. And Aurelius's aggro Guan Yu deck continues to dominate. I actually like this version of deck that Aurelius brought this week. I felt like last week his deck was a little bit weaker, curved out too low. This deck, though, curves out really nice, and he has a lot of burst potential as well.
Yes, and I don't remember him playing Sun Wukong last tournament, but he did have it for this one, and he was played in almost every single game at the 6 mana.
Yeah, Aurelius has been pretty lucky this tournament, I must say, but he's clearly been playing really strong as well to make it this far. We're going to be right back, guys. We're going to have a quick break and bring Game 3 right to you. Hey everyone, welcome back once again. Game 3 underway. Current score 1-1 right now, so we're going to see the player Aurelius, who just won with his Guan Yu deck. He's going to be forced to switch. He moves over to his Zeus, and Pot Pie continues on his Raw.
Exactly, and we're going to see not a lot of options heading into this game with Aurelius. Is going to go to the side and go with the 50-50, playing the urns and exactly the Fire Imp on the urns and get their health. And he's so lucky, man.
That's such a risky play. I love it. This Aurelius is he just takes all the luck in the world and just gives it to himself, at least this tournament, so far from what we've seen. For those at home who don't know, when you kill the urns on the Egyptian map, you have a 50% chance to get one of two cards. One Urn of Attack, which you can spend for 0 mana to give your one of your units 1 attack, obviously, or the Urn of Health. And so he went for the luck there, dropping his Fire Imp. If he doesn't get the Urn of Health, the Raw just kills the Fire Imp for free, and it's a wasted card. But he got it perfectly. And now he's going to set up for, I think, this second urn.
Exactly, and that's what is so powerful if you win the 50-50. Not only you get the first urn, but you have guaranteed on the second urn, and you get another Urn of Health. It is so crazy.
I don't think he's going to use it, though. He used it on the Fire Imp. I'm a little bit surprised that he used it on the Fire Imp, though. I think I would have rather seen him save it. But we know Aurelius. He likes to go aggro. He's got low curve decks, and that's exactly what he's going for this game. But immediately, we see the Doom Speaker get traded out there, and I'm assuming we're going to see 2 more damage into this Fire Imp, making sure to keep him low. And I also like the positioning from Pot Pie with that Decrepit Bowman. He moves him back to be just out of range of the Fire Imp, so Fire Imp not going to be able to get to him and kill him.
Exactly. Fire Imp is one of the only melee units with 2 movement, and it's going to matter a lot here since it's not going to be able to get to these archers. And Zeus is going to be forced to use a clear with Judgment. I'm actually surprised. It wasn't that big of a deal only having a 2-2. He could have just draw a card and wait, but he's going to actually retreat the Fire Imp to protect him. But it's not going to be out of range of the Raw that would could just chase him down. and we're going to see a minion recruiter to get a marksman.
Ooh, okay.
There you see the Raw chasing down this little imp, and the imp's still out of range, so I guess it will just die next turn. But we're going to see what Aurelius decides here, because he has 3 really good choice.
I mean,
2.
I think I would like to see the Inyo be played, and then do the flag strategy again, right? Drop the flag right there in the middle, give your Zeus 2 damage, and finish off that marksman. And then there's just a 1/1 that you have to deal with, which, I mean, it's not too scary, I would say, for an Inyo against a 1/1 little decrepit archer. But instead, it's going to be the Hades.
Yeah, Hades is gonna be. I mean, because you can still clear the 1/1 range, and then Hades can easily kill that marksman. So Hades, like I said, is one of the really powerful fire drops. Like having a lot of health on a ranged unit, it's really hard to deal with.
Execute getting drawn though, and Popeye already had one in his hand, so we're likely to see next turn if Aurelius uses the Inyo or the Hades that get executed as well. He drew a marksman, which it's got to be. I'm assuming it's just going to be the Inyo getting picked up here, or a Hades again.
The Enyo gives you a really straight clear right now onto the marksman, and you're able to box your opponent. He's gonna have to move his Zeus to the right, put the Enyo to the right of the Raw, and the flag to the left, if that's what he decides to do. That will also protect this Fire Imp. Yeah, I think he's thinking the way to do that. But you definitely want the flag just into the Zeus so he can have the bonus damage to take down that marksman.
And Aurelius taken a long time to figure out what he wants to do. I agree with you. I think that's the best play. Whatever he play, whether it's the Hades or the Inyo, I'm fairly confident it'll get executed immediately next turn. Unless Popeye wants to take the risk of using a Ritual Tribute. And there goes the Inyo, but it's not actually going to be in position to body block, interesting enough. So the Raw's still going to be fine, but that marksman will get traded out.
Really interesting positioning, but the Raw's not going to be able to get. Wait a second, no, it's going to be able to get to the Fire Imp if you wanted, but he was going to use Focus Blast and heal himself to full health instead of the Execute, and I really like that because that removal based on damage, you want to use them when you can, while Execute, for example, if your opponent plays an Ares and a Stone of Gaia, you really want that Execute to help you out there.
Or, I mean, you mentioned it before, the Hades, right? The Hades has 6 health, so that if he uses the Execute on the Inyo, the Hades won't be able to be killed off by Focus Blast. So I agree with you. I like this. The draw from Aurelius and Nemesis, not really valued here. Obviously, Nemesis, when she comes into play, halves the life of, or halves the health, excuse me, of an enemy unit, which obviously you're not going to get any value. So you want to save that for kind of some of the bigger things coming out. We can actually see Popeye has a Geb in hand, so probably going to see the Nemesis come out after we see that. And here it is again. The same. We watched this strategy a little bit ago, Deathwalker. It's this Inyo flag sitting in the middle and all these ranged units, this Hades and this marksman getting buffed, and the Zeus all getting buffed.
Wow, that's a really good pickup with the Anubis. It's going to be able to play Anubis and put it, kill the marksman actually at the max range of the 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, exactly. He's going to be able to kill the marksman if he wants to force his opponent to trade the Hades into the Anubis, but he's going to decide to hold on this Anubis, attack the flag, and execute the Hades.
Yeah, Popeye here just trying to play this as slow as possible, it seems. Aphrodite drawn for Aurelius, so he can link himself. Aphrodite giving Protect 1 to one of your friendlies when you come into play. Also, it heals that unit for 1 on each health. And Aphrodite on a leader is one of the most powerful combinations. If you cannot clear that Aphrodite, the opponent's leader just stays so healthy throughout the match.
It will be really interesting if see if he plays Aphrodite right here to protect his archer.
Oh, he did.
But yeah, exactly. But as we saw, that archer is gonna do so much damage, but it's gonna get removed by the Magma Slam. But I would really love to see the Afro Kiss onto the flag because you can actually do that, and it's pretty funny.
Just make it really hard to kill the flag. Draw coming
Exactly.
out, and it's a Neath. And there that Fire Imp goes. He stayed there for quite some time, and the Anubis as well going to clear out. That was a really good play for Pot Pie. And you can see he's still got a Geb, Neath, a Magma Slam, and a Ritual Tribute in hand.
Yeah, I really want to see that Ares being played in combination with the Fire Imp to take down that Anubis if he wants to.
Or it's possible to Nemesis here as well, steal his health away, and then finish him off with a Zeus or a Fire Imp. But I guess you really don't want to take that 4 damage.
There's also the Nemesis. You want to keep her for like Gabs and Capris because they're really the prime targets because they have a lot more health than the other ones. That's exactly what we're going to see. There you go. You can even play if you really want your Siren of Doom instead of your Fire Imp. But it's up to you. I like playing Fire Imp right now because not only it doesn't die while attacking because it's stun, but it's also forced the Raw to basic attack the Fire Imp instead of your flag. But it's going to be the choice with the Siren of Doom, which also works pretty well.
And no Annihilation in hand for Pot Pie this time. Not that it would really clear the board too heavily. That Ares is going to be a problem, I think, for him moving forward. I'm assuming Pot Pie is just going to retreat here and probably slam Neath defensively. Or do you think he'll move up and kill the Aphrodite with Magma Slam and then use Neath? What would you prefer in this spot?
But like I said, the execute against Ares are pretty good, but now it's gonna seem like a ritual tribute to get the only god that died this game on the side of Ra, and that will be Anubis. So he was 100% guaranteed to get that Anubis back.
Yeah, that was a much better play, and he still has this Magma Slam. I'm actually surprised he didn't move forward. I guess he was worried about taking too much damage. He is against a Greek deck, so the possibility of Deathbringer there. Blade Master gets picked up, though. Perfect timing. I'm assuming we're going to see a Nemesis Blade Master come out of here.
That will be really good to take down that Anubis that we see in the back. But do you have enough if you trade? I mean, you cannot use your Zeus there to trade with the Anubis. No. You're going to take so much damage. But at the same time, Ra doesn't have that much of a burst.
No, I mean, he doesn't have any burst in his hand right now, outside of, I mean, his clear options. He's trading the Marksman. I'm surprised at this. I'm really surprised that we're not seeing the Nemesis played to deal with this high health Anubis, making it easier to pick him off.
I would have loved him to draw a card first, because if he gets the Judgment, he could have played Nemesis Judgment and really kill him really easily.
I think Aurelius... I don't think Aurelius wanted to do that. I think he misplayed a little bit. He still doesn't know what he wants to do. He still has that Nemesis. He could Fire Imp. Blade Master's not going to be enough. He would have to play the Blade Master and Fire Imp. Yeah, and so he just takes 6 to the face, and then he drew a card. And now he's going to play his Blade Master. Okay.
Oh, but then the Blade Master lives with only 1 health, and it feels really bad because the Ra is going to be able to take him down with his basic attack.
I think Aurelius misplayed that. I think I don't know if he wanted to do that necessarily.
It was a questionable play, but he's not losing yet because the Blade Master did give him 3 health. So the board is left with a Gab facing an Ares, and he's gonna have 10 mana this turn to do whatever he wants.
And there's that Nemesis. So it was safe for the Gab at the very least, just to deal with this. And then Fire Imp gonna come out as well, and then Zeus to finish him off. And then he could slam Medusa here as well. So this is a really good spot. And you can see only Focus Blast in hand right now, clear-wise at least, for Pot Pie on this next turn.
Exactly. Yeah, at least Pot Pie is going to be able to take down the Medusa. I really like moving the Ares away, so then you don't get Cataclysm, both of your really good units.
And there it is. He picked up Sunder as well, so he can 100% do this without trading health if he really wants to. And it looks like that's what he's going to do. And he still has enough mana to play this Geb or a Neath here. I'm assuming it's going to be the Neath.
He finally takes down the flag that was so hard to deal with throughout the whole game. and playing the Neat now out of range of the Ares. That's gonna be interesting.
Oh, and the draw is a Judgment. So perfect, really strong draw from Aurelius there. He's going to be able to kill this Neath straight away and just slam a Doom Speaker. He could also, he could also Nemesis this Neath and save his Judgment if he really wanted to.
No, you want. I mean, you really want to keep it for the Capris and the Gabs. You get too much value out of it, and the Judgment is just the perfect answer right now for the Neat. So there's no point in playing. Sometimes you have to see Nemesis as a really good removal.
She is. I mean, she does health. I mean, she does damage when she comes in, right? It really is a really strong removal tool. And this is going to be trouble for Popeye. He has the Geb, so next turn he's going to be able to get 3 health at least, but he's getting put really close to being in lethal range right now. And he draws a Ritual Tribute. How much damage is on board? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So lethal is on board here.
Ooh, that's not gonna be enough. Yeah, exactly. 9 damage. It's gonna give up. I would have loved to see the Gab. I'm actually surprised he didn't play him.
Yeah,
the
did
Gab.
he misclick that? Popeye might have misclicked that. I'm not sure. Either way, guys, that was the end of game 3. Right now, Aurelius up 2-1. One more game, and he will take it home. We'll be right back with game 4. Hey everyone, back again. We are into game 4 of the finals. Popeye currently down. Aurelius is up right now 2-1, and we can see after that victory, Popeye is sticking with his Raw, or excuse me, after his defeat, Popeye is sticking with his Raw, and Aurelius on his last deck, which happens to be Freya.
Exactly, and we can already see a lot of early game against from Aurelius with the Far Imp, Scotty, and Doom Speaker. And on the other side, Raw has Sunder, and then he's missing a 2 and a 3 drop.
Yeah, so, I mean, Raw really doesn't have a play this first turn. Just going to move forward, hit the Freya in the face. I'm actually a little bit surprised about that. Most Raws like to play a little bit defensively, but I guess this is a mid-range deck, so Popeye's okay to push forward aggressively there. But here comes the Scotty immediately. It's going to be mana potioned out there, and you could see Aurelius making sure to push forward with Freya and just put himself into a strong position.
Yeah, he actually get the perfect draw with the Magma Slam, punishing that Scotty in the back there. But I'm a little bit, surprised by the aggressive play by Raw, knowing that he didn't have early game in hand. That was a surprise. And then Aurelius here is going to be able to play Doom Speaker, and I believe you're going to put it on the top so he can just, get past the Raw that's body blocking. But no, he's going to put it right in front of him.
Oh, this could be dangerous because you can see this on her is probably, yeah, I mean, the on her is going to be coming out this turn as well. And then Potpie can just stick here in this position if he wants, but I guess he doesn't want to take that much free damage, so he's just going to back up. And it's still going to be fine right now, the on her. You can see Fire Imp is in hand for Freya and also Fate, so we might just see both of those come out to deal with this.
Yeah, and exactly 4 mana. But then if you move your Freya in that space, your Doom Speaker can't attack. So I will really like to see Freya going up, and then, you know, Fire Imp is still in range, and Fate doesn't have any range, so you're still good there, and your Doom Speaker is able to attack. But he's going to choose to just move down, it seems like.
Yeah, that's interesting. His Fire Imp will still be in range here, though, so this is fine. And so it's going to be the exact same thing, but the Frey is not going to be around the corner, I think, as much as he wanted. But he's still going to be pushing damage here into Potpie. Geb drawn immediately. And with 5 mana, I'm assuming that's just going to come out instead of the Sunder, right? Get something on board to deal with this.
Oh, yes, exactly. I really like the Geb, because you can also just retreat and play Geb in the choke point. And then you force your opponent to attack your Geb.
And yeah, so I think that's exactly what's going to happen in this spot. And there it is. Oh, a Ymir drawn, though. That's a very strong draw here. If Aurelius just wants to put that in the corner right next to the Raw, that's probably the best option. I mean, we could see the hands of Potpie, so it's probably going to get executed right after that. He could also save the Ymir for charge. He also, like, the Loki and Ymir are both very good charge characters for either clearing the board or looking for high burst damage.
Yes, but I would really love to see the Fenrir Kaldir come down into this turn. That will give you a lot of units on board. And then next turn, you're able to Ymir charge to stun anything, and then use your Kaldir and Fenrir that are on board to easily attack something that is stunned and that will not deal return damage.
And yeah, no, I agree. You're right. That's actually probably the better option. And the Doom Speaker just going to go to push a little bit of face damage for now. And Aurelius still deciding. He could also... No, that's really the only option. It's really not worth it to whoop this Geb in this spot. Aurelius taking his time this game, though, on this Freya deck. This is something that we haven't really seen from Aurelius. Normally, he's a pretty fast player to make his decisions.
We know, maybe it's the third deck he has to play, so maybe he is a little less confident with this deck since he was playing so much Chinese that we know him for. Maybe he's not like, I have all the experience with this. It's gonna put the Fenrir in range of the Geb, and he's gonna go down with his Sunder instead of an Execute. If he could have just played the Fenrir in the back of his Freya, and that would have been out of range of the Geb. But now he has to deal with a board. I mean, but like I said, the Ymir charge here is really good to kill the 2/2 Decrepit Bowman. And then you can use the basic attack of your Freya and the Kaldir to finish up that Geb.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like that's what he's debating to do. Oh, no. He actually charged the Ymir to hit the Raw. How do you feel about this, locking the Raw instead?
It is not a bad idea if you do have some damage to follow. Ymir is going to get, though, executed. So you basically just use 6 mana to deal 3 damage. This is and stun. So you basically have a backstab and a Fist of the Gods worth. And knowing that Ymir is such a powerful drop, you know, I don't think it was really the best option. Aurelius is known, though, to go phase. So, I mean, we could have expect that from him. But like I said, not playing the Fenrir out of range of the Geb, Potpie did save his Execute, and now we see it that it really comes handy here.
And yeah, the Freya forced to whoop there. Doesn't really want to have to do that this early on just a 2/2 Decrepit Bowman, but otherwise that Jiao Feng would have got traded out for free. And he's just going to keep trying to pressure Potpie into this corner here, or at least away from this corner.
Exactly. We're going to see another Sunder picked up to clear easily Ji Feng with a basic attack of Raw. He could also have used the Magnus Stem if he really needs to, but he's going to be able to play a Ritual Tribute with the mana that he has left, and
4/9
it's going to
Geb.
be another Geb, and that's a big wall.
That's scary to see here, and I think we're just gonna see the Fenrir being played here. The Fenrir in a whoop this Geb. I'm assuming. He could also
I
play
don't-
Loki. Would you like to see the Loki come out instead of the Fenrir?
Yeah, I don't know how, if he plays Vitalis, but this is definitely the best play. If he has 2 Vitalis in his deck, oh my god,
He top decked. He top deck Annihilation. It does 3 damage to every enemy unit on the board. And it is one of the few things that's going to go through that stealth to be able to kill Loki.
Exactly, that and Focus Blast. Pot Pie actually has, with the Egyptian Pantheon, one of the Pantheon that has most answers to ambush with Annihilation and Focus Blast being able to kill that Loki while he's stealth.
Yeah, and this is, you could see how the tables have turned in this game. Here, the Popeye is just backing up with his Raw. The Geb is getting whooped every turn, but that doesn't really matter to him because we're also seeing Popeye basically be able to exactly spend his mana to heal himself up. There's another Geb to free the CC on the 4/9 Geb. And there's the Magma Slam coming out, and it's the Fenrir's going to be picked up. This is getting very dangerous for Aurelius right now. There's not much he can do. He's really banking on a strong draw this turn, and it is not a strong draw. It's an on-Zeus.
Exactly. Having a charge with nothing to charge is not really that good, and it's really interesting to see that the Geb freed the other Geb from the CC, but it didn't add the 3 health, so I guess we have a little issue here from the Bugs' perspective of the game, but that will probably be fixed eventually. And now Freya just running away from everything. I don't think she's going to be able to have enough burst damage to finish the 15 health on Raw.
And the Anubis is in hand as well. So, yeah, this is not GG yet, but it's pretty close. The Anubis is going to come down. You can also see Phantom Grasp has just been drawn for Pot Pie. So, even if Freya can draw a strong minion to maybe delay, it's just going to be Phantom Grasp immediately afterwards.
Yeah, especially with 1 health, being forced in the corner. No matter what happens, the Raw is going to be able to finish the game from where he stands.
Oh, this is actually a really good combo too. Bull Demon King charge, Scion of Doom, an AoE charge for 6 damage, but he can't clear everything. That's so unfortunate.
He can only kill one thing.
I think he can move stuff down on the bottom, right? He can move over and down and then play the Bull Demon
Oh,
King. But
yes.
it's still game over though. He's not going to be able to get out of this. He has 1 life.
Oh, but he's gonna have some style points though.
This is some style. This is a stylish way to finish the game. Just look at this. Swoosh. Swoosh. The value out of the Bull Demon King. But it's GG, so.
You're gonna take me down, but at least I'm gonna have to show my fancy stuff.
Yeah, it was gonna get Phantom Grasp next turn anyway. GG's though. That is a 2-2 scoreline now. So we are heading to a game 5. Really exciting stuff. I believe the last deck is also a Norse deck from Pot Pie, so we're going to see this play out. I believe he has an Odin. How do you feel about this set so far, though, Deathwalker?
Man, it's been really back and forward, and we can see that Pot Pie is much more of a defensive player, and that Aurelius really brings the aggro decks into this tournament, and it seems to be working a lot for him. But then Pot Pie also is so defensive and
He's playing it well.
So sure. Exactly. And he doesn't take all the risk, right? We saw the Fire Imp being taken with the 2 urns that Aurelius had, really playing it risky, but it pays off.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, we're going to be right back. We're going to head into the final game of the SMITE Tactics Weeklies tournament. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll be right back in a few minutes. And welcome back to the finals, everyone. It is Game 5. Pot Pie taking on Aurelius. Pot Pie, it's his first appearance in the finals, and he has done a phenomenal job taking on the newcomer Aurelius, who, in the only 2 weeks he's played, has made it to the finals both times.
Exactly, and he also has a really unique gameplay where he just goes and tries to finish the game as soon as possible, and most of the player, being a bit more patient with the game and trying to control the board, he really destabilizes the other players the way he played the games.
And he's done a great job in these tournaments, just playing unique cards as well, because, like I said, he only picked up the game a few weeks ago. He actually does not have every card in the game right now, so it kind of limited his deck choices, but some of the stuff he came out with has been incredibly strong here. And right away, we're going to see the Cursed Hunters come out from Aurelius, or no, excuse me, from Pot Pie defensively, just trying to get in the back. And it looks like this is a pretty aggro deck coming out from Pot Pie as well.
Exactly, but most of the Norse decks are built around aggressive starts, since their biggest drop is like Ymir, and then they don't really have any more late game. So you really want to try and focus all your cards into the more aggressive style of play, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to be really interesting placement for Scotty.
And yeah, just slams it right in the middle. And I think we're going to see a Mayhem come out here. One to the face on the Scotty, and the rest straight to the Freya. I don't think that's exactly what Pot Pie wanted to happen.
No, of course not, because you do want to keep your archers to be able to deal free damage to the opponent's Freya, just like he did. And he's going to be forced to trade one of the archer for the Scotty instead of one of the Mayhem shots.
And yeah, and now we're going to have to see Aurelius respond here. He's got 4 mana. He could play his own Scotty in this spot. I think he's going to take out this archer with his basic attack at the very least. He could also play a Fenrir or a Loki instead, but I think I'd rather see that saved. I feel like he's just going to drop his own Scotty and Caldeir in this spot. Do you feel like that's the best play, Deathwalker?
This is so hard to deal with, because, like I said, do you want to kill your opponent's Scotty, or do you want to play yourself? He could also just kill the archer and play a Loki if you want, or a Fenrir. But then if your opponent has any sort of removal, then your Fenrir dies and you didn't deal with the Scotty.
And we can also see in the hand of Pot Pie, he would be able to combat that. He has Scion of Doom to buff his Scotty to 4 damage, and then he also has Odin's ability, which gives a friendly unit 1/1 as well.
Exactly.
So that Scotty would have 5 damage, enough to kill the Fenrir. Then it gets really dangerous after that.
And at the same time, if you play your own Scotty, then the opponent is Odin. He can just buff his Scotty and trade for yours for free. So I really like the Loki here being the safest play.
And the thing, too, about this Loki play is the fact that it kind of limits the choices for Pot Pie to play. Now, we can see his hand once again, so we know he doesn't have anything big that was going to come out here. But if he did have, say, a Ymir or a Thor that he wanted to play, he wouldn't be able to play it in this spot. Or I guess, no, he only has 4 mana, so it would have only really been a Thor or a Fenrir.
So what do you do with your Odin ability here? Right? You put it on Scotty or on the Wolf, knowing that Loki's going to go for the Scotty. He's going to decide to push for damage. Fighting Aurelius with his own strategy here.
I like it too, just because the hand he has right now, he's got a charge, a Fire Imp, and a Backstab, and that's a lot. That's 5 damage to face with Backstab and Fire Imp. So you're looking at effectively 8 health for Aurelius. And then if you get a big minion, if he draws his Loki, which I'm assuming he has, he can charge that, and that's another 6 damage. So I like this style. I like this style of just going face and just try and get off as much damage as possible.
Exactly. Now it's going to be interesting to see what are going to be the option for Aurelius. He doesn't have a charge in a hand, and he's going to have the Ansys be able to deal some damage on board. But then, do you play the Doom Speaker? Oh, he decides to go with the dog. Really interesting. I would have loved to see the Loki going for the Scotty and then Ansys to kill the dog. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think that was, yeah, because he would have taken less face damage at the very least from that. But he is.
Oh, he would have taken none.
Yeah, and he is going to play his own Scotty there, so a slight misplay, I think, here, but not the end of the world. But the thing is, we already talked about it with the backstab and fire imp. That's 5 damage in hand from Pot Pie, and Aurelius is going to have to be very careful with any amount of damage he takes this game. We could just see the Odin buff here into the Scion and then go straight face.
Could have done that. That would have been really interesting, but it seems like he's just going to play it safe. I feel that's going to be the Fire Emblem trading for the Loki, and then attacking the Scotty with his... Oh, he's going to charge one of the... Yeah, that's his smart play.
Okay, I'm a fan of that. And he had enough mana to use the backstab, but he wants to save it. I think he wants to have Aurelius feel a little bit more comfortable than he actually is in this spot.
Exactly. You want to make your opponent think that you only have like a big drop. So he's maybe going to trade more aggressively his health, and then you can surprise him with the backstab at the end.
What do you think we're going to see here? A Kaldir and a Ymir? Just to body block setup?
You want to put as much units as possible on board to body block your opponent, Odin.
So, yeah, so another Kaldir here, and then the Chow Fang as well. Yeah, so that's perfect.
There you go.
Oh, that would have been lethal if he didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
For that. That would have been exactly lethal if he did not do that. That is, that's scary. And now, as Pot Pie, what do you do here? I guess he's going to pop his own Frenzy. How do you feel about
he has
this?
no choice, but the biggest choice now is, do we go face or do we kill the dogs? And I think being so low in cards, that was the best play. I would have loved him to trade his health and then getting 1 more damage out of his archer to the face and losing 4 health on the Odin. But at the same time, if your opponent has a frenzy, maybe that would have been a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, but this is a good spot for Aurelius, right? He's fighting against 3 damage. So he needs Aurelius, or he needs Pot Pie to not draw a backstab or like another fire imp or another charge. But he can body block himself in on one of these sides with this Ymir though. And there's only 1 card in hand for Pot Pie as well.
Yeah, he's going to be able to set up the wall here with the Ymir and the dog.
Probably, he's not going to attack with the dog either, I don't think, just saves it.
Oh my god!
He top decked. Oh, that's brutal. 2 backstabs. Backstab does 3 damage to the opponent's leader instantly. It's pure aggro.
It is one of the worst way to lose, just from double backstab.
What a finish. What a finish, because Aurelius had just stabilized too. That's what's brutal for him. All that was in hand for Pot Pie was a single backstab, and he had a Ymir on board, he had a Kaldir, he had a couple more cards in his hand, but just the backstab top deck there. To be fair, Aurelius has been pretty lucky this tournament, so, you know, Pot Pie gets the luck on the other side at some points.
Exactly. There was not much cards. I believe Fire Imp was also 3 damage with the Odin buff. But, you know, that's just 2 cards because he already played another Fire Imp. And, you know, with the Ymir of Aurelius, he could have stunned the Odin for days after that and just game on that.
Man, that was unfortunate for Aurelius. But congratulations to Pot Pie for winning the tournament. Aurelius taking second 2 weeks in a row has done a phenomenal showing as well. Before we finish this off, Deathwalker, do you have any thoughts about the tournament overall?
I really enjoy this tournament. You know, we got some one-sided games on the early stages, but whenever we got to the semifinals and the finals, we really saw how SMITE tactics is meant to be played, like back and forward throughout the boards and with the health and a lot of decision makings to get the most out of it.
It was an awesome finals once again. Thank you guys so much for watching. We went all 5 games. The SMITE Tactics weekly tournaments do happen every week on Saturday, and then we rebroadcast them for all of your viewing pleasure. We're going to be finishing up here right now, though, but make sure to follow us on Twitter at SMITE Tactics. Make sure to check out the SMITE Tactics website as well at www.smitetactics.com to stay updated for all the information. The game is still in closed beta, and we have some pretty big adjustments coming in the next patch as well. Deathwalker, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch at Deadwalker700, and you can also find me on Twitter and YouTube at Deadwalker7000 when I always upload a lot of Smite Tactics related video for all the new players who want to get into the game. And I'm very active also into the Discord and on the Reddit, and you can find me there on the forums, guys. If you want to just join the game and have some fun, everybody's going to be happy to see you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next tournament.